This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
And I'm Dr. Will.
And I am OEB Pete because I was told I had to say the OEB Pete part. OEB.
Who told you that?
I just made that up.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It's like, what?
You ruined the joke, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The joke. Because in the first two videos, which might be out of order, could be the last two, depending on how you put it out, I just said I am Pete. And then you correct me at the end and say, oh, this is OEB Pete.
Well, it's a good segue to say if you want to find his channel, go to youtube.com/OEBPete and consider subscribing after you watch a couple videos.
Yeah, just don't type in Pete because I can't guarantee what you're going to get on YouTube by just putting in the word Peter.
Yeah, fair enough. Why don't you tell everybody about your channel real quick?
I am the channel where modern retro video games come together for fun. I cover the Analogue, the Evercade, and everything in between. God, I just invented that tagline. That's awesome.
There you go. So what are we doing today? Well, today is Friendly Friday.
It's Friendly Friday.
So
We're going
coming off
to
today.
be...
Oh, this
Yeah.
is right. Oh, okay.
Oh, is it Frenemy Friday now? Is that what we're
Frenemy,
changing?
yes, exactly.
I'm reading the script wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, well,
Well,
we
no.
originally were doing Face Off Friday, but we're all very excited about these two products. So instead of
Yeah.
doing Face Off, we're going to do a Friendly Friday, where we just essentially talk about the pros and cons in a more friendly discussion instead of a courtroom type setting.
Plus,
I love it.
YouTube does not, the algorithm does not like face off. When I've hashtagged face off, it like immediately just dumps the hashtag. So apparently YouTube does not like the word face off.
Maybe they weren't fans of the movie,
Exactly.
which
actually
I
like
love that movie. That
Yeah.
movie was fantastic. I thought that movie was great.
It was like peak Nicolas Cage.
He's like does that and then it like actually Nicolas Cage in the background here.
Yeah, can you edit that in?
I might be able to. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Yep.
So today we're going to talk about the Analog Pocket and the Evercade. And Pete, you have a lot of experience with one, and you're going to be getting the other. So what do you think
Absolutely,
about the Evercade in a brief, quick summary? Like, what are the pros and what are your cons?
Oh my! The pros of this system, it's a legal way to play hundreds and hundreds of games from the last 3-4 decades of video gaming. It's ROM, it's plug and play, it's affordable, and it's downright fun. And there's so many features on it that would blow your mind.
I think it's like, what, $80 in the US?
Yeah, 99 Canadian, yeah, so $80 American, yeah.
Because I thought about picking one up the other day. I was like, man, that's not a bad deal at all. Oh, $99.99 if you want to get these collections with it. That's right.
Yeah, and you get what you'd want, right?
Yeah.
I think it's 79 just for the starter pack.
And then you got this fake Vita down here.
Yep. It keeps getting recommended to me, and I always get super excited. I'm like, oh, it's not real.
Oh, it's fake.
Anyway, I find it
Was
interesting.
that brief enough, Chris?
Yeah, oh
Was
yeah,
that
definitely,
brief?
definitely.
It was
brief
too
enough.
brief. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, well he kind of told me brief, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh god.
Well, because you've done so many. I meant more like I don't want you to give away everything from all your Evercade videos in like one
Oh.
quick. Because I want people to go watch your Evercade stuff. You do so much
Oh, okay,
coverage on it.
perfect.
I'd hate to steal away all of your Evercade viewers from one video. So
Oh,
go watch some of his Evercade stuff. We'll link one of the Evercade videos. Pete, send me one in a DM. I'll link that one. Whatever one you think would be a good starter video if you want to hear more about the Evercade. But
perfect.
it's very price, in my opinion, it's very convenient on the price because you can get a bunch of games for like $20, and then there's another $20 cartridge, $16, $30. They're all over the place, but they're all affordable.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing. It's very affordable system. I mean, comparing it to the analog and analog products, which is very premium systems with totally different engineering involved in both. I mean, the Evercade is specifically budget priced, and the hardware used in it is not revolutionary, but it works. That's the thing you have to understand.
I will say, before we get into the Analog Pocket, my first criticism, and I don't have a lot, but my first criticism was, why would you pick this form factor?
Yeah,
Because
that
it
was
looks like the
mine.
Game
That's
Boy Color.
100% mine.
Color.
It's the worst model of the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah,
Like the
Oh, the
for
SP.
form factor, I really enjoyed the clam shape one.
yeah.
For
Yeah, I
the
like it
and
too.
I was disappointed they didn't do that because this one just cramps you up.
Yeah, I specifically only play on my SP now because I have an SP. I don't have a Advance, mostly because they didn't have the backlit screens back when I bought my Game Boy Advance, so I got an SP instead. Even though I liked the form factor of the original Advance, but yeah, this is the worst format you could have picked. I'm sure there'll be grips.
It reminds me of the Game Boy Color. So if this comes in teal, I mean, that's so nostalgic for me. But
that's what I think you went for. That a Game Boy Color nostalgia play on this one, because it looks like a Game Boy Color.
Now, just real quick for fun, I'm gonna shout out this weird form factor Game Boy emulator console. That was the Hyperkin Game Boy player phone thing. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this thing. Do you ever remember this thing? Hyperkin Smart Boy. That's what it's called.
Really?
Yeah, that's literally what it's called. It would connect to a phone. Go down to the bottom, you can kind of see it.
I've heard of this. Yeah, I've heard of this.
They originally developed it for iOS, but Apple basically said, like, hey, this isn't coming out on our phones. But yeah.
I'm letting you plug our phones into this.
I think even Nintendo had an issue with it because the way it worked, it wasn't like what you would think. It didn't directly play the cartridges on the phone. It would download the ROM off of the cartridge to your phone and play it that way.
Right.
Interesting.
So that was the whole point. So you could, like, back up all your Game Boy games to your phone and play them on this device. But yeah,
that's weird.
So this is like the first foray I had into like a emulation on like a modern device, and then I saw the Pocket shortly after I saw that, and I was like, man, this is great. Like, I don't have to buy any new games. I already have them, and they will work on this.
This was a big impulse buy for me. The pre-order for the Analogue. Like, I normally, if I would have thought more about it, I wouldn't have got it. But reason I did get it is I got like 200 Game Boy Advance games and Game Boy games and Lynx games, and then I said, oh, I gotta get it, and I bought it and paid for it, and then I realized, oh, what did I do? Like, because it doesn't have all the new features that I want on it. That's my biggest criticism. Like, can we get into criticisms?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the big criticism I have, which I love the Evercade so much for, is it has something called save states. I don't believe the Analogue is coming with save states, is it?
I don't.
If it is,
so.
I'll stand corrected. But if it has save states, that's a good thing. What I guess, so like save states on the Evercade makes retro games, a lot of them, bearable. Because it's a modern convenience where you can you can play for a little bit, just automatically save into a save state, walk away, come back, do whatever you want with it. What another feature I kind of, after further review, that I know I want now is the ability to back up my games and not have to switch my carts out all the time. And there's no storage memory where I could like dump the ROM off my carts that I own. Because that's the only way I'll play a ROM is if I own the cart and I can dump it myself on the machine. So those are the two drawbacks I have. That and the design, which I kind of wish they would have solved. Have those abilities on the console.
Or have like multiple form factors would have been cool.
Oh gosh, yeah. Like, just to have the original, like a form factor like this Evercade would have been awesome. I don't know if you guys can see that, but
you can see it twice. You can see it twice.
Yeah,
your video.
I'm holding it up there. So I like the form factor, but like everything else I love about the Analogue, it's FPGA, which purists will love, but I'm not. Like, if I could dump my ROM on it, I'd be fine with that too. But
FPGA. So, how much do you know about FPGAs? Just out of curiosity.
Not a whole lot. I know it's a hardware based. It's re-engineering the original circuits and boards and chips that were used on the original hardware, right? It's in those lines where they kind of...
Yeah, it's meant to, like, from it's hardware emulation versus software emulation.
Yeah.
So anything you could play on an original Game Boy Advance, whatever the slat will accept right out the gate without the conversion, those will all work perfectly programmatically. Like their Super Nintendo analog, whatever the SNES analog was in the original
I have
NES.
the Analogue SG, I have the Analogue NT, I have every analog product they've ever made, and I love them to death, but I have the same criticism on every one of them. There's no save states.
There's a way to
And
hack one of the old ones. I can't remember which one
no,
they
I don't
hacked.
do that though, Chris. I'm not into hacking. I'm not into doing that's work. Like that's when I'm like when I have got to work to do all that, I don't want anything to do with it. Like I wish Analog would just put some memory on board for save states, and then and they if they didn't give me the dumping of my ROM so I could like put all 150 of my Game Boy Advance games on there, that's fine as long as they had save states. If they gave me both, it would be the greatest product in the world.
You're saying like if you could get a save state from the cartridge, so you wouldn't have to worry about the battery dying.
Yeah, the battery dying or being because like in a lot of those games you have to be in a specific part of the game to do a save.
Yeah.
Right, or do a continue. Save states on the you can be anywhere in the game. You could be fighting a boss with one hit left on you, save that state and go back to that at many times. Like Evercade has over 30 save states per game. So like I've got 6-7 save states per one, and somebody who YouTubes and does a lot of Evercade videos, the ability for me to show a video of my timeline of progression in a game without playing it for 8 hours, it's amazing, right? I don't use my analog to capture it very often anymore, and but that's why I don't get regret in purchasing very often, but this one I'm starting to kind of regret buying.
Probably the one thing that I love about the Analog Pocket when I found out they had this is the Bluetooth analog dock where you can output to a TV.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So that'll make capturing quite good, and then you'll get a pure capture. And people can't say like I have the AVS, the NES one from I forget what's called the AVS. I love that, and that's an FPGA system. Because I didn't get the that's the one analog I don't have is the Nintendo one.
Because that was so
NES
expensive. That was really expensive for me.
I would have bought it, but it just sold out so fast. And then I was gonna pay $450 Canadian for the re-release. I'm like, no, that's not a thing.
Fair enough.
But I do like that feature of it. I mean, the Analog, their products are just awesome. Like they're built really well. They're pricey, but I think it's worth the price with what you're getting with them in a lot of ways. Yeah. I just feel like my tastes have evolved in what I want out of a console now, and the Evercade's changed it, and a new console coming out is changing it even more, which is not a handheld system, but it's coming out in a month. So I don't know if you guys heard of the Polymega, but
yep.
Yeah, that's taken a lot of heat everywhere, but every review I've seen on it is amazing, and the fact that I can't wait for that system. I think it's the retro gaming world needs it big time. Like I'm super excited.
I saw a Modern Vintage Gamers video on Polymega, and he said it was really good with I think he had a few complaints, but not a whole lot.
Oh yeah,
and he had it early on.
Emulation based, right? So you're always going to have the problems you get with emulation, but they're making a big effort to solve it. What I like about this is the thing I've talked about on streams and stuff. What I like about the Polymega, and I wish the Analogue had it, was the ability to patch and localize games from other regions, which the Polymega will allow you. For example, if you put PC Engine games in to get a patch, English patch on a USB, put it in, and it'll save it with your game and create two versions of the game, one with and one without the patch. So I can finally play my extensive PC Engine collection, which I've got 70 PC Engine games. I can finally understand what I'm playing. Which is really cool.
That was actually the only reason I hacked my PSP back in the day, was to back up my games, because you could do that with the hack on the PSP, and I never actually downloaded any games. I just would back up the ones I had because I knew the UMD format and how fragile it actually was.
Yep.
And then I used it to do localized games that I couldn't get any other way. So like the original Fire Emblem games, I played all of those on the PSP because you could actually get a patched version to run on the SNES and as an NES and all those emulators back in the day that you could not do any other way. At least I didn't have a good PC at the time, so that was the best way for me to play.
Yeah, I'm the same way because like I in the 90s I really fell in love with the TurboGrafx, but I couldn't afford games for it. So I got a PC Engine, and I started collecting PC Engine games because they're super cheap. You only have to pay for shipping from Japan, which is super cheap. Like their shipping is like next to nothing a lot of times. And so I started getting PC Engine games, but I didn't understand Japanese, but a lot of them are still very playable. But like games like Kadash and stuff like that, where you have to pay like 50, 100, 200, 300 bucks in Canada for to get. You can get it from Japan for 12 bucks, like loose. But now I'll have the ability to play them on the Polymega, save them there, and be able to get the English patch for it. I know we're off topic but that's the big concern of with the Analog, for the price you're paying for that system, because the Polymega and Analog are the same price, right? You're getting all these features in the Polymega on a ROM-based system, which is emulation-based, whereas on the FPGA, the considered best version to play your retro games on, you're not getting any of the cool features with it, and I don't understand why. Back to the Evercade's giving you, again, emulation-based, but giving you a whole lot of features in it for a very cheap price, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And the Evercade, like I said, that price point is the reason I've considered, hitting the trigger and getting it. Honestly.
Yeah, and it's not a perfect system, right? It's a $79 system, so you're getting $79 worth of hardware. It probably costs no more than about $30 to make. Let's be honest, right? It hasn't got the best screen. It doesn't have the best speaker, but boy, it's got one of the best D-pads I've ever had. The buttons are great. The software is good on it, but the first generation of it had some foibles. HDMI out for certain games, if you're capturing, will have static. You got to reset it. They had some bugs in the system like anything else, but they're fixing it. And I get to play all these games in a legal way on a cartridge, which is great. The collection systems on the Evercade's amazing. Like, there's 10 games on this cart.
You got a very bright light on it.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's my my face light. My Elgato, whatever they are, light.
So, I will say this. The Analog Pocket appealed to me because I could capture output from a actual Game Boy cartridge or Game Boy Advance cartridge.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, but I can already do that. I've got the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy player for the GameCube, which outputs to my component, which is perfect, pixel per pixel output, and that converts to an HDMI into my Elgato. So like I already have that. So like that was what convinced me not to get the Analog Pocket actually.
Yeah, I might sell mine.
Probably be worth money
I'm
when you first get it.
I'm like the more I think about it, like I don't know. I just feel that there's other ways. Like I've got the Game Boy player, I've got the HDMI out for my GameCube. There's so many different ways I could play it.
Yeah.
But I love handhelds. That's my problem. I get I get like trapped into these decisions where it's a handheld. I have to own it.
But that's where I draw the line. Like I have the output and I have an SP. I don't need the Analog Pocket to play Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah. But I think I jumped on it way too early. I think we could have had a Friday face-off on this one, Will.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think
with the conversation the way it's gone, yep.
Yeah, I add to more. Like, see, I'm talking myself out of it. Like, I'll have this on. I'll be a big posting on eBay selling this for $400 by the end of the show. Be one of those days.
Anyway,
I cancel my.
Before Pete gets in trouble with Analog and they cancel his order, we should probably end this episode.
How long to give me my money back?
Yeah.
I don't know. I might love it. Like, it's the one time I didn't do all my research, and I wish I did.
Yeah, and I think the Evercade, for anybody that's wanting one, that price point, you could get one and not feel bad about it. So.
And yeah, exactly. And they're supporting it, which is amazing. Like they've got 13 carts in the hopper right now. So they got 10 out, 2 coming this week, 2 in November, 2 in January, and a bunch more coming next year or so.
And it looks like Earthworm Jim's on there.
I hate that game. You see?
Tommy, you better not listen to this one. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, Tommy knows.
I know.
Tommy knows. I'm not a fan of this game. I shouldn't say that. I'm not a fan of the first boss in this game.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
That being said, I think if I had to pick between the two, why don't we all do this real quick? If I had to pick between the two, probably get the Evercade. What about you, Will?
It's tough because I actually have quite a few Game Boy games already, and I recently broke my Game Boy, so I don't know. I think I'd probably go with the Evercade because it'd be the easier sell with my wife because it's much cheaper.
Yeah, and I could always sell you my Analog.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Evercade. I've got both. Like I'll in all fairness, I'll get my Analog. I'll play it. How long it'll stay in my collection is a different story.
Fair enough. So, anybody watching this video in the comments down below, tell us what you think. Evercade, Analog Pocket, whichever one it is. I might even run a poll on Twitter. I don't know. I haven't done that very well yet, but maybe I'll do it this time. And tell us what you think. So, as always, I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
I'm Pete.
And since this is the Friday episode, Pete, thank you for being on here. I'm going to do this now, even though we are still planning to finish the other episodes. I hope you've been enjoying this so far.
Oh, this is awesome, man. I've had a blast. You guys are great. This is fun. It's like not even like we're doing anything. It's just chatting. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? You are recording this, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I sure hope so.
Gonna use this later. Bonus footage. No, I'm just kidding.
Bonus-ode.
Yeah, and we will see you
On next CHRILLCAST. Bye, guys.